So here is our 2D drawing assignment. So I want to establish perimeters. There's two main things that I want to have in the 2D drawing. A character and an object. And the object I want to define as a mode of transportation. And I've done a little Google search. And what comes up for transportation are trains, planes, cars, trucks, boats. Anything in that range is going to be acceptable for this project. So be creative, and what I'm going to be showing is research things and come up with some designs that work in the 2D, and to be able to put these elements together into a single 2D drawing. So looking through all of these options here of what are means of transportation, we have a little bus, we have cars in a traffic jam, we have working ships, we've got working trucks. We think of what interests you and what you want to explore. And what we want to do is explore our subject matter. In my case, what I've decided is I want to go with a ship of some sort. And in my research and looking around, what I came up with is I'd like to explore a tugboat. So it's a working boat. It's not a pleasure craft of any means. So that's up to you, what the occupation or what their means of transport is used for. But again, being a 2D drawing, we want to be able to tell a little story from that one illustration that we're going to complete. So I want to have something working here and figure out what my tugboat's going to do. Also, what's required is a person. So having a tugboat, it helped clarify who the character is going to be. And that character, I'm going to have a sea captain. So doing research and figuring out what does a sea captain look like. And now it's not only what he looks like, but what his clothing is, what's the functionality of a sea captain's uniform, that cap. It's sorting all this out. So again, I think I mentioned character design. You're also a fashion designer, and you can decide if it's past, present, or future, or how you're going to work it up. So looking at everything, but knowing that you have to come up with your own unique, creative 2D version of that character. And there's some cartoon ones in here as well. So, I've got the Simpsons sea captain here. Little other cartoons and some portraits, both paintings and photographs. So it's figuring all that out and not copying any of these. We do our research just to get knowledgeable about our subject matter and use them as inspiration, and inspiration only. And then we can do a number of variations. So again, here's some really nice cartoon characters here. So that's really cool. Showing different proportions of the features of the face, let alone the body and everything else. And there's a bunch of cartoon ones here. So it's researching everything to see what's going to come up with a unique design that you can come up with. Because we don't want it to resemble anything already existing. As a designer, particularly a designer in animation, you're going to be hired as a designer to come up with original ideas and not tracing things off or being duplicating from photographs. We just want inspiration and then come up with the idea. And the same with the tugboat here. I didn't see any cartoon versions, so I actually punched in cartoon tugboats and took a look what's existing, what's out there. Because if you're going to design something for your own cartoon, it's good to research and know what's been done before. So researching what's been done before keeps you from plagiarism and copying other people. That it'll guide you into something unique, or hopefully you're going to find something very unique to your own concept. So two main subjects. Again, a mode of transportation. I picked a tugboat. You're wide open to do whatever you like. Hopefully you won't do a tugboat. It's been done. I've done it. And the character. And I'm making sure the character relates to the object, the means of transportation. So I've got a sea captain that's going to work with this. Okay. So once I've done some research, I'm going to start doing some sketches. So I've got these kind of thrown together. So here was a sketch from those drawings, playing around, just trying to get a theme. Oh, it's zooming forward on me. Let me pause this and go back. So I tried to figure, again, when we're doing a 2D drawing, any kind of drawing, hopefully it tells some kind of story. So I have that traditional sea captain who's missing a leg. He's got a peg leg. So I've got him with a fishing rod, and here he found his boot from the missing foot. So a little bit of a story, trying to tell a little bit of a story there. But I want to experiment more and play with proportions as much as possible. And I want to define this or refine this so it's really a 2D drawing. So this is very, very rough, and it's exploring the concept. So here I've got one that I was working on, trying to, some variations, some different shapes to create the face. Also proportions on the body. I'm working on this lapel here on this overcoat that he has. Now I started working on another idea. I thought, okay, maybe not the fishing rod and the boot that he found. That maybe he's got a chair and he's taking a leg off it to replace his missing leg. So, maybe a little bit of humor to put in there, and it tells a little bit of a story. Issue I have with this, I kind of went 3/4 view on the chair, and I don't want that. I need to flatten it out so that it is a 2D drawing and meets our criteria. So, exploring a bit more. So I played with proportions even more, and now I've given him a hammer in this hand as if he's just, and put some nails in that leg of the chair onto what's remaining of his leg that he's attached it himself. So again, I've changed the coat, the lapel, helped define the shapes and played around with the proportions on the face, and just working up the wardrobe, everything. So there is kind of the first phase of exploring and getting some sketches down for the captain. Then we have the tugboat. Before I did any research, I did this sketch of a working scow, like a tugboat that is bringing a scow of garbage out of the city. So I got a cityscape, and I already got a pier and where my human character would go. So I was kind of happy with that idea, and that's where I was going to take my direction. Now I had to do some research, and I found that my tugboat wasn't very accurate in a real tugboat. I made it very angular, which is fine. That's a design thing. But one of the things I found is that I've got the chimney coming out of the cabin where the captain would be. So that doesn't work. The chimney comes from the engine and gives out smoke, so having that come out of the working cabin where the crew is made no sense. So had to do some research and find out what the tugboats really look like. And this was after doing some research. Then I did this sketch. Again, I put that research away and started to come up with some freehand ideas inspired by those and not copying anything. So I discovered that most boats and smaller ships and things have nice curvature to the line, and they're more organic and have some nice shapes to them, which my very angular boat really didn't depict that. I got the smokestack in the proper spot, so it's the engine would be down here, and now the smoke is coming out this smokestack in a proper fashion and leaving this control tower free of a smokestack and other things. And I started exploring, maybe having a speaker or a siren or something up on the top of the boat here. And I have an anchor, and I discovered that these tugboats are kind of lined with rubber tires as bumpers as they push cargo and things around. And then I refined it even further and tried to simplify. So I reduced the number of the rubber tires. I tried to just define those shapes, get more curved shapes happening in here, and working that up. So that's the research stage. Now I want to, at the next stage, is start putting these elements together into a final composition for our 2D drawing, and having our character and balancing that with our transportation object, in this case a tugboat, and putting together with whatever other elements it takes to make a final composition. Now it's time I'm going to start using my 11 by 17 paper and putting my elements together. So I've got my sea captain, I've worked him out a few times, and now I'm pretty happy with it. I've done my research, got my tugboat, which I've done a few variations of. Now I'm doing it up and trying to make a composition. So I'm using my 11 by 17 as my perimeter, of which I gotta put something together. And now I've done very rough placing and sizing of the tugboat. My sea captain, I got him on a pier, and on that pier I have a support piece here, and I thought I'd put a little pelican in there. So I'm trying to tell a story all the way along here. So part of the story is that the sea captain has lost his leg, and he's replacing it with a leg off a chair. So trying to do that all flat two-dimensional. So roughing it up. Once I go through this stage, I'm going to try and clean this up and refine things and move things around a bit so that it works well within my 11 by 17. So here's my next stage of filling up that space. So I'm kind of working out that the tugboat's on the other side of the pier, a little further away. So the captain's bigger, he's closer to the viewer, and the same with our pelican here. So the big trick is trying to keep everything flat two-dimensional. There's a few areas that I have some issue with. The hand, I kind of have the fingers starting to look three-quarter view, but I want them to be straight on for this to be a 2D shapes that are creating the whole illustration. And even my ropes holding on my tires on the tugboat have some dimension here, and I want to try and flatten them out. But the main thing is I'm sorting out and refining and starting to sort things out as best I can. Then, so again, this is my second piece 11 by 17 as I'm trying to work out and really look at detail and refinement of position as well as structure in 2D form. So my next one here is my tracing over and really final positioning. You can see that I've fixed the fingers here so that they're straight on. The ropes here holding on the rubber tires that are used as protection on the side of the boat, that I've flattened those out into two-dimension and just kind of reworked shapes and really got them working here as best I can. So what was an advantage is having the light table here to get to this stage is that I can turn on the light and shift things around. So you can see with the light here, maybe you can, maybe you can't, where I changed sizes, made things a little more symmetrical, repositioned the boat in relationship to the captain, and just rework some elements to get the best end result. So I shifted the cab and everything on the boat forward so that it would balance things out, and starting to put smoke in here, which I defined one more step, which I don't have here, but you'll see in the final cleanup, which is a separate video. So the main thing is that this drawing here is going to become my final cleanup. So I want to make sure that I've taken a great deal of care in doing the lines, being as accurate as I can, erasing any lines I don't want. So when I do my final cleanup line, that trying to avoid having any blue show through, and just a nice solid dark line using the 2B lead pencil. Anyway, so here we're ready to go. In the next video, I'll have half of this cleaned up when we start into the cleanup video, and I'll really focus in on the captain and the line work. Okay, so hopefully this gets us well underway.